Welcome back to the big one. Now, the minority in Parliament has presented what it calls the true state of the nation. The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, described the president's presentation as a campaign platform message full of untruths.
Those of you who listened to the president would have been wondering whether he was still on a party platform campaigning for vote, or he was now the elected president of the republic, who was speaking as the head of state of the Republic of Ghana. But we are not surprised and we were not perturbed, because he himself said that Ghanaians should anticipate tough measures to end their many sufferings that they promised in the MPP manifesto. Many of you who heard him again indicated that there is no fiscal space, yet he did not provide an opportunity and an explanation to the Ghanaian people how he intends to find the fiscal space. It is also to be noted that many other sectors of the economy were left out. Even Bimbila, there was no comment on it, even as it poses a major threat to our national peace and security, and what he is seeking to do as president of the republic. It's also important that I state that it is not enough for the president of the republic just to come to parliament and his is to condemn the continuous intimidation, harassment of public servants. Therefore, let me say here and now that President Akufo-Addo's stance on this act of lawlessness is most disappointing, especially as he touts himself as a champion of human rights and someone who upholds fundamental freedoms. We note the total absence of any acknowledgement of positives that the new administration may have taken over, including a few examples. Ali, we are aware that he has not introduced any tax instrument in the Republic, but he managed to get $30 million to pay the armed forces. It certainly meant that something good and something well was being inherited by him by the previous administration. The silence on the fact that the current government would not have to look for $750 million this year to redeem the 2007 bond that it issued without a plan of its payoff is also significant. On the IMF program, we find it curious that President Nana Addo Dankwa did not repeat his emphatic statement on the campaign platform that he will review the program because it was inimical to our nation's interests. Let the president and the MPP be reminded that those wanting free senior high school is not only the people entering in September, but every Ghanaian student in a senior high school deserves to benefit from the free senior high school on equity principles, and therefore they should come with a budget. Even as they contemplated heritage, for how long, how sustainable was that? If you have a president who is crying that I have no fiscal space, yet he is accommodating new presidential initiative that is promising to finance, who has bastardized borrowing too as an option. So you see, he will be between the deep sea. He cannot borrow. He wants to cut taxes. He has no fiscal space. The end of his contradiction.
Right, so I have in the studio Ibrahim Ajay, who is with the Office of the Executive Secretary to the President and a member of the New Patriotic Party. Good evening, sir. Nice to have you here.
Likewise, Stephen.
Yes, so the minority is saying that, well, I mean, the President's presentation full of half-truths and untruths. I need your reaction to that, that a lot of the facts that the President put forward, the minority says are distorted, or they are untruths, or totally not the representation of the facts on the ground.
Well, thank you, Stephen, and good evening to our viewers on TV3. I mean, what is untrue about the state of our economy? The fact that indeed we owe, in terms of debt-wise, 122 billion Ghana cedis. What is untrue about the state of education right now? What is untrue about the fact that energy, electricity costs more than your rent? What is untrue about the state of our National Health Service? I'm talking about the NHIS. What is untrue about the fact that a lot of the service providers want to opt out because the erstwhile government of President John Dramani Mahama was not paying them? And I think what President Akufo-Addo did was to highlight these key areas of our state of the nation.
You wouldn't say these are untruths at all?
Everything
or
there,
half-truths?
Everything there is the wholesome truth. The wholesome truth. I'll give you one quick example that they wanted to I'm talking about the minority now, wanted to latch on. They're talking about the fact that the IMF targets, they said that they didn't miss them, but where they missed them was because of extenuating circumstances. For example, they say that what President Akufo-Addo should have done was to highlight the fact that because of the drop in oil price, that's why they missed certain economic targets. But Stephen, here's the thing. We are a net importer of oil. So when oil drops from $122 per barrel, I'm talking Brent sweet crude,
that's supposed to be beneficial to us,
to $28.
But we also export.
But of course.
And so revenue accrued from exports will be lower.
Sure, but you see, budget estimations are based upon a whole slew of economic indicators. Oil revenue is one, cocoa production, agriculture is another, and then of course you have the financial services area as well, and then industry itself. You look at all those factors in terms of your revenue. Oil, in fact, is not a major contributor. We have gold as well, as you know. But the fact is we import more. And look at the quantum, from $122 a barrel to at one point in October 2015, leading to 2016, $28 a barrel. That was a huge financial gain for us, which means we don't spend so much money importing oil, because now the price has dropped, giving us that fiscal space. So how do you then continue to miss the budgets? I'm talking about the IMF. And what President Akufo-Addo did was explain it very succinctly to the point so that everybody understood.
And you don't think that in explaining, he possibly may have put himself in that quote-unquote campaign mode? That's what the minority is saying. You don't see it that way?
No, there's no campaign mode. I mean, President Akufo-Addo made the point that he wasn't elected to complain, but to actually fix the problems. And he highlighted certain interventions to actually bring Ghana back on track. In order to transform our economy, we have to transform our human resource base, which means education. The NDC said it wasn't possible, free SHS, not for 20 years. They somehow backtracked, 180-degree turn, and their intervention, what they called free, was a 37 Ghana cedi subvention. I mean, that's the price of your trotro from your home to the school. That's the intervention of free SHS under President John Dramani Mahama, the former president. What President Akufo-Addo has done, has highlighted. We've costed it about 1.6 million to 1.7 million Ghanaian students who will now enter the 2017-2018 academic year at a cost of around 3.6 billion Ghana cedis. It's being costed for. And so you know that we're on the path to actually transforming our economy through the key or the basic factor, which is our education and the next generation of Ghanaians. So these are the interventions that will help to transform our economy and make us the most business-friendly, people-friendly economy within Africa. And it's an economy that is inclusive. When you look at what President Akufo-Addo mentioned within the State of the Nation address, talking about the one district, one factory, what that does, in fact, it's across. We have 216 factories, and they're not all 216 districts, sorry. And all the districts are not located in Accra, Greater Accra. Greater Accra has something in the region around, I think, 16 or so districts, Greater Accra. And so you're looking at the whole nation being given an economic injection, if you will, that will create that economic space and vitality. And when everybody is in gainful employment, you'll see how the economy will expand, and then the dividends that will come from it. In terms of that expansion.
But while saying that, let's go back to some of the concerns the NDC raised in this press conference, which is the key reasons we're here. They say that the president did not make reference to some of their government's good work. For example, the Takrady to Paga railway line, they say, was a project that was initiated under the previous government. is this not a concern that even if it was the MPP, I'm sure you would raise questions about why they take something you've started and you don't give credit to it? I mean, for example, the Pokwasi interchange construction is to be started this year, September, and we're told that the $95 million or so contract has been awarded. Now, this was done in the previous government, but no mention has been made anywhere of the role played by the previous government.
With all due respect, I think what President Akufo-Addo did, he highlighted indeed President Mahama's role in the transition. And he said that his demeanor was a credit to our nation. And so the credit has been given. But on the specifics you're talking about, this is a State of the Nation address by His Excellency President.
It's not supposed to have everything.
No, you can't capture everything. What you want within the limited space you have, you need to give out a clear idea of where we are as a country, looking at the key pillars. And we're talking about energy, the economy, health, housing, sanitation, those areas, education as well. But I think one key thing that President Akufo-Addo did, which, if you will, is a slight departure from other State of the Nation address, is talking about discipline. Once we get the attitude right, now somebody may say, oh, but what's the State of the Nation? I think about timeliness. He said that punctuality. Yeah. All of these things inure to transforming the society that we want. We want to be ambassadors of excellence.
And you don't think that the president was hiding behind brevity in order to avoid touching on critical issues that affect the generality of Ghana?
Honorable Aruna Idrisu used that word brevity. You can be brief, but I'd rather be succinct and to the point, and that's what President Akufo-Addo did. Right. You mentioned the Pokwasi interchange. The sword for that has not been cut. They also mentioned in their press conference about the Flower Pot to Tema flyover. And there, again, that has not started. What we're looking at are the key tangibles. And what Ghanaians want to know is that over the last 12 months specifically, from the last State of the Nation address, how have we got to where we are? That's what concerns Ghana. Right. And having outlined that, President Akufo-Addo went on to explain his vision about how we're going to get where we need to be.
Mr. Ibrahim Ajay, I'm afraid that we don't have a lot of time, but we're grateful that you passed through, and I'm sure that we have a lot more time on our hands some other day to expand on some of these issues. Thanks very much for coming. This is still News at 10, and we're live from the News Hub. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. We're streaming live also at 3news.com.